So we got to talk about JD Vance as he's caught in a couple of scandals today. He's tweeting this out just about an hour ago. I always wear an undershirt when I go out in public to have a fight loudly with my wife. Okay. And then he's tweeting out this picture of him supposedly yelling at his wife, I guess. But this could be AI. I want to make that clear. He doesn't deny that it's him, but then he makes the joke kind of about the undershirt thing. Natalie then says JD and Usha allegedly spotted having a loud argument at the restaurant recently. So it's weird. I saw this thing floating around social media. I saw a few things on this, and I was like, I don't know what to make of this. And then Vance even amplifies it by tweeting it out, saying, I always wear an undershirt when I go out in public to have a fight loudly with my wife. I'll let you guys be the judge. I'm going to think that I'm more apt to think this is AI. That's my guess, but who knows? You read some replies to this. Linda Yacarino's laughy face. Dar says only is Peter Thiel allows it, right, JD? The left is stupid. Brian says this is real. Alaska says, look at that nose, man. It's not JD. Okay. So I'm going with AI on this one, but I'll let you guys be the judge of this. Why are we talking about JD and why am I checking his social media and why are we doing this stuff? Well, there's a more important scandal, and this is for real, is campaign finance. U.S. Supreme Court weighs challenge to campaign finance spending limits in J.D. Vance's case. Okay. What's the basic gist is they just want to spend unlimited amount of money on Vance's run for the presidency. They're already planning for post-Trump era, right? I figure after the midterms come, you're going to really ramp up the talk on who's going to be, the candidate for either party. Vance, I think he's got the big money behind him. And so that's why you want to change the laws in USA basically to just have no limits. Make it so that Elon Musk and I guess Ellison, whoever wants to just buy off the election, if you can, change the rules, do whatever you can to get Vance in, and then Vance will be your patsy for the next, whatever years. This is Trump and Vance at a Christmas party today. It says, President Trump makes an appearance at the Vice President's Christmas reception. Okay, there it is.
JD implied, we're trying to build a ballroom. We're not only trying, we're building it.
And so you can see the sign behind him. It says the Golden Noel, right? JD was just there and they got the Christmas decorations up and it's fine. You can celebrate Christmas. But I want you to see what this world is. These are all the staffers, the billionaire buddies, all the sycophants or whatever. They have these big Christmas parties. And then the money's like, okay, we got to throw enough money behind it. We got to get more, our people in place and start forcing JD Vance on everyone and get that's going to be, I guess, your candidate. They're also sending Vance out to Turning Point stuff, so they're going to try to rally all the Christians. Every time I say that, I'll use this. The Christians, right? You don't have to be part of the Turning Point in the endless televangelist kind of machine to be in the faith. And I just want to make that clear because sometimes these Republican people act like that is the only game in town. There are lots of different things that you can do. There are a lot of other games. There's more than just JD Vance. And he says he's excited to be there. How else are they going to push JD Vance to you? They got Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, of all people, talking about Vance. Have a little bit of listen to this.
But I like the man a lot.
You spent some time with JD Vance at that.
Yeah.
Do you think he would be a good person to succeed the movement that Trump has started politically?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, he's really an elegant man. His wife's amazing. Kind of like my wife over here. They're beautiful. Come on, my love. I found him to be very elegant in his demeanor.
Isn't it strange, this whole thing? Like this big campaign to get Vance in, right? Remove campaign finance limits. Let's spend unlimited money on Vance, I guess. And now we're talking about Vance's wife. Literally, I don't even know what to say. These are bot accounts, it appears. Because what happens is in MAGA land, and you may have MAGA people in your life, they'll go over Facebooks or the Twitters or Instagrams or whatever, and there'll be all these accounts basically pumping up Vance, and they don't appear to be real to me. So, for example, this says, stand up for Trump. That's the account. almost half of Americans don't like JD Vance. Okay. If you love him, give me a thumbs up. And it's got a picture of Vance there with Charlie Kirk. And you got another one here, another account. Trump lover, heart, India, America, right? Almost half of Americans don't like JD Vance. If you like him, leave a red heart, heart American flag, right? And I imagine there's probably, a million accounts out there promoted by Elon Musk's platform that basically saying the same message, and it's going to be like, real patriot, red Georgia, or Trump forever, Trump blah blah blah, right? Like, it's basically bot accounts. And the thing is, it's so crazy. You have people in USA and say the MAGA base or whatever, and they don't realize how they're getting manipulated. I didn't realize how bad it was until, if you follow my channel, we talked about the Hyundai situation. There's this whacked out person named Tori, and she was like citing all of these, articles she read. and basically, I try not to be too mean, but I'll just say there are some people out there that don't know what's real anymore, and they can't tell the difference between, like, because obviously, fake article or say fake bot accounts than to real people. And it happens, it happens. You may have a aunt or uncle in your life, whatever, that get catfished by essentially a bot that's like, some long lost relative, or some, really, really attractive person overseas starts chatting with you, right? And these days, like, the robot can make you feel like it's a real person, and then ultimately they're going to ask you for money. That's what it boils down to. And in this situation, they try to build friendships or whatever, the algorithms, the bots, and then start pushing JD Vance on you. Yeah, Supreme Court probes campaign finance limits challenged by JD Vance. I, for one, think this is actually, honestly, the biggest problem in American politics or American economy, or just America as a whole. You could look at any situation in USA and just think of it this way. If we removed the money out of politics, and you could get candidates from all kinds of backgrounds, right? Candidates that actually have connection to real people, like regular, just actual working people who understand how this stuff works, opposed to Vance, he's just going to be a puppet. You could argue he's going to be worse than Trump because, and I'll tell you why. When you see Trump, he's obviously Looney Tunes and dementia and crazy, and he's got these weird personality things, right? It's obvious to anyone. Vance, he's a bit more sneaky because he'll be clearly controlled by the Musks and Peter Thiels, whoever, big money, right? But he won't come across as Looney Tunes as Trump. And so the way that they'll do these things is they'll get you focused on, a bunch of nonsense issues. Vance will start talking about bathrooms or whatever. Republicans love to talk about bathrooms. It's like they have this obsession with bathrooms. It's such a weird thing that they do. And then, behind the scenes, they'll cut your Medicare and cut your education, all this kind of stuff. Vance also is saying these whacked out stuff today. I'll show you. This is another tweet that he just put out. First of all, it's just made up quote, completely dishonest. Okay, well, when he says that, I was like, okay, what's the quote here? What are we talking about here? JD Vance, it's totally reasonable to not want neighbors who speak another language. Okay, so did you say these kind of things? Are you married someone from another country? Usha, I believe her parents and family are from India. So what are we talking about? Let's have a watch.
Who's out of the house is actually evicted from the house because there are people who are going to pay more for rent. And then what happens is 20 people move into a 3-bedroom house, 20 people from a totally different culture, totally different ways of interacting. Again, we can respect their dignity while also being angry at the Biden administration for letting that situation happen, and recognizing that their next door neighbors are going to say, well, wait a second, what is going on here? I don't know these people. They don't speak the same language that I do. And because there are 20 in the house next door, it's a little bit rowdier than it was when there was just a family of 4, a family of 5. It is totally reasonable and acceptable for American citizens to look at their next door neighbors and say, I want to live next to people who I have something in common with. I don't want to live next to 4 families of strangers. And the fact that we had...
So that is actually JD Vance tweeting out this video, right? And it's sick. I mean, I don't know. Do you hate your own family? And then you're also dealing with stereotypes, right? Stereotypes that, all these foreigner people are moving into your neighborhood, basically, and they're not going to speak your language and know your culture. Like, he's basically talking to a white audience. That's essentially what it is. It's like a scared, fearful white audience. That's who you're going for. That's the MAGA base. I'd be frank with you guys. And it's weird, though. It's like, and that's, I guess, why people, put out rumors or whatever that he's having problems with his marriage, and that's why you mentioned that photo thing, because it doesn't really make sense, to be frank. And I know this Vance and Usha, they're not stupid people. I think they went to Yale Law. They're not dumb. You could say Vance is immoral. You can say that. You can say, but Vance is unethical. Sure, but yeah, you're not going to Yale Law and get a law degree, and you're not dumb. So what are you doing here? And I guess, and I don't know Usha personally. I don't know. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. These people could all just be greedy. Usha could be greedy, because why would you hang out with Vance and go along with this stuff, right? Maybe she's not greedy. Maybe her family's not greedy. Maybe that she does leave him. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have privy to that kind of information. But when you see the stuff that he puts out, and then you see that this is the headline today: Supreme Court weighs further loosening campaign finance limits, and you know that they're going to push Vance on you. And it's so disingenuous to. I just don't know what to say. I get what they're going for. Appeal to your racist audience. I get that. I'm not stupid, and I know Vance isn't stupid either. And I feel embarrassed for your family, and I feel embarrassed for your kids. I'll be frank. And I'll catch y'all in the next video.